to create, we're going to make some, we'll get back to a bit of paper crafting today, I think. So let me see, what camera do I want on? Let's see, let's go here. There. Or shall we go there? Let's go there for a change. Okay, I'm going to swap around. So I've been reading my cardstock. We're going to use stamps and dies mainly for this. Before I forget as well, if you remember the other day, I did a live with the seed packet. I don't know what I've done with the project now. Oh, this one. If you missed it, I'll just give you a little quick taster if you missed it. So, where are we? There. Ooh, forgetting where my camera is. There. So, I don't know when it was. Was it last Sunday? I can't remember. Basically, I made this, and this is a little seed packet, and I did actually glue this down, but there's a free template for this seed packet, and there's all the items that I used, and there's actually on the front page of the website, I've put a new category on there right at the top, and it's called Shop the Project. So when we actually make a proper project like this, not where I've just doing the live and I end up not making anything properly, but when I actually finally get to make a finished item like this, or when there's any freebies to go in it, I'm going to actually put them in the Shop the Project. That's sticking up a bit. But yeah, if you like that and you want to make that, go into Shop the Project. The video is there as well, so you can follow the video. I've cut all the rubbishy bits out with me wittering like this. And the downloads there, so go and get that. I know loads and loads and loads of people have shopped for that free template, so make sure you go get it. It's just a free download that you can use. So I've been raiding my stash here. Oh, Chrissy, no, there isn't. But get the download anyway. Right, Chrissy, hang on. Let me just do this for you then. Because there's a little titchy one. The main part is 10 centimeters by 7. Okay, so it was so easy to do. Get the download, get it on your screen, and then you can actually copy it and paste it. Okay, not copy and paste it. You can copy the outline and trace it. Maybe I need to do that as a stencil template. Do you know, I was thinking the other day, you know, we used to all use stencils for templates, didn't we? Maybe I need to make some more templates. Anyway, right, let's carry on. Right, I'm not looking at the screen anymore, guys, so if you're leaving messages, I'll come back to them. So I'm going to use a variety of things today. Let's see, I'm going to go over here. Okay, so I'm not quite sure what I'm going to use, and I'm going to come back to these bits and pieces, but this is the Summer Garden collection, okay? So again, if you want to see what's in there, so we've got all the dirt stamps, great big stamps, dies that actually match each set of stamps as well. So you've got all your outline dies. So this is all gardening and garden themed. So we've got lots of flowers, little picket fences, tools, wheelbarrows, ladders, birds. You can see there. As I say, all the dies that are going to match. And then you've got birds and more flowers, a bike there. I say a little bike. It's not a little bike at all. It's a big bike. So you can see that you've got lots and lots of stuff in here. Okay, so I'm going to come back to these because I'm not sure which I'm going to actually make with yet. So to start with, I've got a 6x6 card blank here. It's not on really heavy cardstock. I don't really need it to be, and you'll see why. And then I've actually pulled out some of my American Crafts cardstock, which is one of my favourites that I love. And I've already trimmed it down a little bit just to save a little bit of time. See, look, I was actually planning. I was actually prepped a bit today. So I've cut this slightly bigger than my blank. Can you see? It's just a couple of mils each side. I'm not measuring. I'm not a measuring person, okay? But I just want it to be a little bit bigger than this. And then what I'm going to do is I want to just measure. Whoops. I need to get some tools out, don't I? That would help. Tweezers. Pokey tool, got that. Embossing tool, that's what I was looking for. Okay, so I want to actually just measure what I'm doing. Okay, so my cardstock, I've actually, so if you want to know what size this is, okay, because I know I'm not a measurer, but I know a lot of you are. So basically, this is, my blank is 5 3/4, which is actually 148 millimeters, okay, wide. And I think it's 148. Doesn't really matter either way. I basically just scored a piece of A4 in half. So my cardstock is actually 152 millimeters. So I've got 2 millimeters each side. I'm sorry if you're in America and you do inches, but we don't really. It's actually full 6 inches. This is 6 inches. This is, take like a 1/16 of an inch off. Okay. So I want to measure the actual width here. So I've made this. This is going to end up as basically an A5, which is roughly 5 by 7. So this is 152 wide in centimeters, 6 inches in inches. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to make a mark at 3 inches, because that's going to be my center. Okay, so I'm just putting it, this is why I'm using my embossing tool. I just want a little mark in there. And now, do you know, I was going to score down there. I don't want that at all. What am I doing? Okay, I'm going to grab this. Sorry, I just had to think then about what I was doing. See, I'm only half prepped. So now, where my card blank sits here, I'm going to just put another little mark there and on the other side. Okay, I just want an indentation so I can score. So now I'm going to put that in to my trimmer, find my center point there. This is why I use my embossing tool. And now I'm going to use my paper trimmer, to make, oh no, look, I am right, I'm not embossing at all. I'm getting confused, guys. Look, I just want to trim that off. And it doesn't take much, does it? And that isn't 3 minutes. That's definitely not 3 inches, is it? I've gone to the wrong mark there. Where was my 3 inch? It is 3 inches. Oops, sorry, don't know who that is. That is 3 inches. It must just look like it isn't. It's an optical illusion. Oh yeah, look, it is. Wow, isn't that weird? I totally thought I'd messed my measurement up. I'm slightly off, but it's okay. That won't matter, that little tiny bit. Okay, so we've kind of got, could be a house, could be, I don't know what it could be. Could be all sorts, couldn't it? Anyway, that's what it is. Now I want it that way. Now, a little trick for you here is where you cut, you know, like when you cut something and you cut it down, that you end up, it forces, the blade forces the edge back a little bit. So if you cut on the back side like I did there, it's actually kind of like looking like it's the wrong way around. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put that on this trimmer here, and on most trimmers you have, because you're pushing the blade, you have this channel here, and this channel is like also your embossing channel. Like there is actually an embossing blade to go on this trimmer. I've had this trimmer since I started crafting 25 years ago. That's how good this trimmer is. I hardly ever have to buy any blades for it. The blades last forever. So what I'm doing is I'm just running my embossing tool along that edge, and now can you see it's actually pressed it back. So before Can you see what I mean? Don't know if it's a little bit blurred. There you go. You know when you get this edge, you can see it there, look. And it actually looks like, you know that that's been cut on the back. That's the back because of how it's cut. So now, what I've done, by actually getting my, because I cut it on the wrong side, by getting my embossing tool and just pushing that back in the channel, now those edges have gone back to the wrong side. So now it doesn't look like it's been cut on the wrong side from the front. If that makes sense. I hope you understand what I mean and what I'm trying to achieve. I just hate it when you kind of like mix your cardstock around. Now what I'm going to do, I am going to glue this down. Okay, I'm just going to attach this. So just want a bit of red tape. You don't need red tape, it's all that there was there. Okay. Now, I've not got anything at the top here, so let's put it onto the card instead and not get caught there, Nikki. So I'm just going to use my Easy Peel crease tool just to burnish it. What I do is I always burnish it down because then it lifts more easily. Come on. Especially when you've got a textured cardstock as well. Come on. And I need this week because I've got no nails, look. I've had a bit of an accident-prone week. So I've got a sty. Last night I got into bed and managed to rip half my little toenail off. How? I don't know. I was laid in bed. I think I cut my toenails yesterday and I think I must have had like a little bit of a chip in it or something. And anyway, yeah, so I ripped half my toenail off and I was bleeding. So that was quite painful. Anyway, so that's what we're making, okay? In hindsight, and maybe what I'll do when I've finished, although I quite like it actually with a little roof on there. We'll see how we get on, shall we? Let's see. So I've got this cardstock and I picked this because I quite like the colour of it. I wanted something in brown tones, but I don't want it to be too brown, if you know what I mean. Now I was stupid and I started cutting this down, and actually I want it a bit longer. So I kind of want, again, I want a bit of an overlap. So I'm going to trim this. So I'm just going to zoom out. So I want a little bit of an overlap. I'm going to trim this down so that I kind of don't go too long with my cardstock. I don't want it to look too messy, basically. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut strips. And these don't all need to be 100% accurate. Okay. They don't need to be all the same length. In fact, I think it'll look nice if they're not, and that I have some short ones and some longer ones, which is good because it means you don't have to measure. Okay, and what we're going to do, basically what we're doing, we're going to make a shed. So I just need as many pieces to create my, what do you call them? You know what I mean? The slats. The slats, whatever they're called. Okay. And actually I wish I'd done it in a darker colour underneath. Now this short bit here, I'm going to use this because I can get away with that now. Because I need a shorter bit for the top. Oops. Let me see. Kind of want a little skinny bit there. So have you guys got any plans today? What are you up to? Okay, so now because I kind of wanted it to, I'm wishing that the background card was a bit darker. So what I'm going to do is we'll just ink that just to get a slightly different tone on it. Okay, when I found my ink. I decided to tidy up this morning, and you know what happens when you do that? It's just a disaster, isn't it? Oh, my ink brushes. Okay, so I'm just going to roughly do this. I don't want, it doesn't have to be like a real heavy job. And because you're not really going to see most of it, to be honest. But what I do want to do is go across so that, look, so I want to put a gap in between, look. Yeah, so I want it to be like that. So just go backwards and forwards horizontally. I mean, you could go all over, it doesn't really matter. You're not actually going to see. In fact, let's speed it up a bit. Let's do that instead. Messing around. Kept doing with farting around. Okay. So that's walnut stain I've used there, guys. So nice and dark. Like that, much better. Okay, so let's put our little slats on. Now, what I do want to do before I do this, I kind of want to trim off the corners, you know, to make them actually look like they're wood planks. So, look, can you see what I've done? I've just edged those corners off. So just literally edge them off. And then let's just glue these down. So I'm just going to grab my glue for this because it'll be dry by the time I've finished doing it. So right down to the bottom. In fact, let's go just a millimetre. We just want kind of like a millimetre in between each slat. Now what you can do if you, to save time, look, I'm just going to grab 3 together, trim the points off that way. Oh, I don't know if it does save time. And so I'm just going to leave a little gap, just a 1 millimetre gap in between each one. Just bear in mind, this is a short one, so this one's for the top. So if you remember, I had some shorter ones. In fact, I ain't going to do that because I won't even see them. So I've got another short one there. So they're my top ones. Okay. Don't make work when it doesn't need to be done. And you just literally cut in a corner off. You know, it doesn't want to be accurate. We're trying to make it look like wood. And I've just had a little idea actually whilst we're doing this. So you're going out anywhere? You got Sunday lunch done? I think it's too hot for Sunday lunch. Right, okay. So, I'll just zoom back in again. They're kind of like lollipop sticks. That's the best way to tell you. So what I'm going to do, I just had this idea as I was just trimming them off. So I'm going to, let's make it look even more wood grainy. So look, I'm just going to cut into that, pull that out, and let's just snip in. Maybe another one down here, and just do a little curve. And you could see what I mean. Look, I've already glued these down. How annoying! But we don't want everyone anyway, so it's fine. So let's just tiny little slivers, and I won't go overboard on it because it can look a little bit too contrived if you do. You know, just like just a few little notches, and space them out. So we'll put that one up at the top there, and then we'll have a couple more. Where are these going to fit? Just lay them out so you know you can tell that they're not all, that they're a bit random and they're not all going to be the same size. Okay, wish I'd thought of it down at the bottom, but anyway, never mind. Poached egg on toast. Yum, I haven't had a poached egg for ages. I'm not very good at making them, I must admit. So we'll put a couple of non-cut ones in. And a beef burger, yeah, a veggie burger. Yeah, I know, I've kind of more or less gone vegetarian. It's been very good actually. After I had my kidney stone last year, the doctor told me to cut out as much meat protein as possible. And so I kind of did take notice. And the bonus is I've lost loads of weight on top of it. Yeah, it helped me lose weight. I think getting off the meat has getting off the meat as and cut salt as well. It's helped because I had a really bad sweet tooth, and it's cut my sweet tooth down. So if you kind of, right, I'm just going to trim these off because I do want to try and put some slats in here, some thingies in here. So if you struggle with a sweet tooth, cut the salt, because think about it, every time you have salt, you then want something sweet to go after it. And I was in like this cycle all the time of having, whatever, and then I'd need something sweet, and then I'd need something salty, and it made me overeat. And yeah, so I attribute my doctor telling me to pretty much go veggie to losing loads of weight. So try it for you, see if it works. It did for me. Okay, so sorry, this is taking a bit longer because I didn't realise I was going to do it. Gosh, time. I'm rushing a bit, so I'm making the cracks a little bit wide. So I'm just going to do it onto here this time, just to make it a bit quicker. Okay, nearly there. In fact, you want to make sure that you get the, in fact actually I haven't cut these long enough, but anyway, never mind, you'll see why I've not done it in a minute. It's not going to work, but you get the drift. So we're going to trim that off. I must admit though, I keep seeing that McDonald's advert, and you know, that big one, that big thing. There's no wonder we're a fat nation, is there, when you see things like that on telly all the time. Okay, so then what I want to do is actually just make the side pieces here. So again, I've kind of trimmed, let me see, do these all fit? Are these the same? They're the same. Okay, so these are going to go like that. Yeah, so here's how I'm going to do that. I'm going to get a nice mitre corner. I'm making it go like that. In fact, I won't. I'm going to change my mind. My prerogative. In fact, I'll do those bits in a minute, okay? So what I want to do, I just want to still distress this a little bit as well. So let's, again, get our, let's just get our ink pad. And just light drags, just very light. So I'm just literally kissing the cardstock here, okay? That's all you need. Look how nice that's come out. Isn't that great? Now, just looking at that, let's make it a bit shabby chicy, shall we? So I'm going to get this white ink pad. So this is one from Stamps by Me. And I don't know if it's going to work. Yeah, it's working, look. So let's just, I'm having to press a little bit harder on this. You kind of want to go the same direction. Oops, a bit too much down there. Don't go overboard on it. Yes, Carol, absolutely. Yeah. Veggie is definitely better. Yeah. Okay, right. So now we can put these roof slats on. So the roof trusses, that's the word, isn't it, that I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do, I want to trim these so that they're angular like that, okay? So I'm going to do it like that. So I'm going to cut that one, and then I'm going to put the other one on. Just make sure it's the same size. So I'm just lining it up there, okay? And then, so you want just that little bit of an overlap. Put it back there so we've got the right amount of overlap at the edge. I think that's right. Okay, so now I can see where I'll need to cut, which is here. Okay, you see where that cross point comes in? So I need to cut between there and there to get a really nice mitre. So I'm going to hang on to that. I want them both held together really nice and tight. Don't worry about the black pen mark because we're going to get rid of that. Okay, and look, now we've got a nice mitre on there. Now what I want to do before we do that, we just need to distress these bits. Oops, a little bit much on that. See, just go lightly. Kind of went a bit over the top there. You get carried away, don't you? But using the ink, because it's a pigment ink as well, it's quite... Now I might actually add a bit of colour onto this. But let's just see what we've got. How nice is that? Isn't that cute? Now I think, should we go pink or shall we go, let's go blue. It's got to be blue. I'm a blue girl. Always, always, always. So, in fact, we'll do a bit of both. So, seeing as we're getting, you know, creative with our inks. So, this is salvage patina. Okay. And let's make it, this would be lovely to make, if you had some beachy kind of stamps and dies, you could really get, you could make a lovely beach hook, couldn't you? I haven't got anything that I could make it into like as a beach hook, but look how, oh, isn't that nice? And actually, maybe I'm just going to lift it a little bit with a bit of salty ocean. Let's just see, yeah. Just get your fingers in if you need to, if you... I just don't want a lot of that on, but I just wanted some bits that are just a little bit more inky than others. Do you know what's good for this? Spongy. So if you feel like you want, oh look, it's turning it more inky, more painty rather. Look. Get your damp spongy and actually use it as a bit of a tool. Isn't that nice? So then, I'm just going to let that dry 1 second. With my roof panels, I want these to be pink. Okay. So this is a bit of a girly shed, isn't it? Let's face it. But, you know, that's fine. So just a little bit. I'm kind of aiming for the edges, but obviously the cardstock's catching it. Okay, so that's, as always, picture raspberry. Oh, look, and that's why I have these, guys. That's why I have my holders. Look, I've done it. Look, did you see where I ink pad upside down? This is why, and I've just done that because my desk's a mess and I wasn't using this, look. So, I know most of you have seen this already, but if I'd have done this, which is what I invented it for, and put my brush in there, it wouldn't have happened, would it? And now I've got ink all over my desk. So, do as I say, not as I do. Okay, where's my... So I'm just going to, in fact, I want my spongy on them, just to knock that. I don't want it too pink. I've lost a little bit now. Let's get my little dewberry out, my little detail brush. That'll be a good one. Yeah. Don't mind the roof bits being a bit pinkier. I think it'll look nice. Yeah. Okay. Where have you gone? There. So now we can just glue this in. So I'm going to glue, actually, God, it's so hot, my glue's actually dried whilst we've been doing that. Can you believe that? So glue onto the actual project this time, rather than onto the paper, the card rather. Be a bit better, I think. So we're going to put our mitre on there. And on there. fact, you know what? No, I'm not. I've changed my mind. Well, I haven't changed my mind at all. But I want some dimension. So I'm going to use some foam pads. Okay. I just want it lifting. This is coming out nice. I can't remember what the inspiration was for it now. It's completely different to what I saw, but I just thought, oh, yeah, let's make a little shed. Because I wanted to have a shed in the summer garden collection, but you know, sometimes you just can't put everything in. It would be, I mean, it was a huge collection anyway, so it would have been humongous. And Chris was like, no, you're not putting anything else in there. Right, okay, let's put that, oops. Because I've got the glue on now, it's actually allowing me to line that up quite nicely and get a bit of movement in it. Oh no. Oh, there's always something, Nikky. Okay. That's better. The corners have got a little bit crumpled, but that's better. Polka dot sunbrolly. A life float ring and a seagull. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, really loving that. That could be anything, couldn't it? It could actually be a beehive too, couldn't it? You could just make a nice little a little door for your bees. Use some chipboard and things like that. But we've got to do a door, haven't we? So let's get a door going. So I think that's a bit big. How big should we do our door? I don't know. I'm just going to crease this. Let's get a bit of a crease so that we can actually make the door. So I want the door to open, basically. So I think we'll go about there maybe. Don't want it to be too big. And then whilst I'm here, I'm going to just grab some other card and let's see, a darker card. So let's use a bit of craft card. Well, I get ink everywhere as well, as you can see. I'm glad I did, because now you know why I invented those ink pad holders. Because I was like, I am sick to death of continually making a mess on my desk. Right, so, in fact, let me clean that up, because I'm going to get it everywhere. You see, do you know what, as well, having this spongy has actually made me be a lot cleaner. I know that sounds really weird. But because now I've got a cloth that isn't soaking wet, because the cloth, you know, you can have a cloth on your desk, but they're always either soaking wet or they're dry as a bone. And you know, it really does help me, I have to say. Right, I need to cut that down. So I've got a score line here, and I'm just going to score into that there. This is going to come full back. And now I've got my score line here, so I know where to actually trim that down to. Okay. In fact, I'm going to make that just a tiny little bit. I'm going to knock a couple of millimetres off that, so it's smaller than the actual door, and it'll just sit a little bit nicer, I think. This is proper paper crafting, isn't it? We haven't done this for a really long time. Okay, so now what I want to do here, and actually I'm going to take that off. That's just so that you can see what that's only on there so that I know where the camera's got to line. So I want it to look like we're going into the shed. So let's get some nice distressing going on there. So again, vintage photo. Okay. And I've got some black soot somewhere. It's not a colour I use very often, black soot. I don't know where it is. Maybe I haven't got an oxide. Never mind. Okay. It's fine. We'll do. It'll do as it is. What I am going to do though, on my bit of scrap, is, oops, gosh, that's too thick. I didn't really want to do that. I'm going to just edge. Okay. I didn't want to do that at all. I was going to actually, my hand slipped. I was going to just edge the edge. Oh, it's done it again. Dodgy, bit of dodgy marking there, never mind. Okay. So then we can put our door on. And then we'll make a door to actually go over the top of it. So that can sit inside there. Like, oh, mind you, it's going to be a bit, actually no, I need it to be the same height. I didn't think that through, did I? I'm glad you're all liking this. I love it. I think it's really cute. Okay, so now we're going to have our door that actually opens. So let's just crease that right down. And we are going to make that. Obviously, we need to plank this as well now. So we've got some scraps here still. So I'm going to make them slightly longer again. It just gives you a bit more of a realistic effect. More. I think I might have, annoyingly, I think I'm going to have to cut into another piece of this colour. Is that enough? Oh, just. Oh, look. Just perfect. Just perfect. And then what we're going to do is, have we got some scraps left? We have, you know. Oh my God, I love it when a plan comes together. So look, I'm going to cut this in half. We're going to have our door. Genius. Okay, I'm spending the whole hour making a shed, guys. We haven't actually done anything with it. Where's my glue gone? That's drying out. Okay, I need to cut my little things in. I'm sorry. I didn't realise how long I've been. I've thoroughly been enjoying doing this. Do you want me to carry on? Or shall we do part 2 later? So again, our little notches. I mean, you could have distressed it maybe, you know, and just kind of roughed your edges up, but I kind of like it. I don't know, I think it, with the notches, it kind of works. Just tiny little ones, you don't need too much. And you don't actually even need them on every single bit. Okay, don't know what I'm doing with that one. Right, okay, so we're going to do this again. So walnut stain. Now I've got my planks are a little bit thinner, so I've got a bit more of this showing through this time. So let's just so in fact let's glue them on and then we'll ink them after. Now, because this is the door, it'll get a bit of handling, I think. That's the other one, isn't it? So I definitely need planks in there. I'll call them planks, they're not. What are they called? Splits. So don't forget, anyone that's joined us, lots of new people joined us, I think, at some point. So don't forget, if you want to be, we've got a giveaway. So just enter win in the comments and I'll win. I don't know what anybody's going to win yet. Depends what I use. And I'll pick a winner at the end. So just type win in the comments, okay? And I'm sorry I haven't got a code for you today. I forgot to do it. And I'm on my own. Chris is busy packing all the hobby maker orders. Wow, it was a busy show this week. Oh, I can't lift that now. That's fine. It doesn't matter if it's not 100%, does it? You know, it's the effect. So again, I don't want to go too heavy. So just slight drag. I want to catch these edges though. I mean, you could use your stencil brush if you wanted to make it a little bit softer, but I'm really not that fussed about doing that. Look, my ink pad's not looking great though. But I've got a little tip for you with that as well. Just get some. Let's get some of that on. Right, little tip for you. You need to make sure it's clean. But if you just grab your spongy on the thingy side, make sure it's really quite dry. This is actually going hard at this side, look. So this is what's great about spongy, because it has different uses when it's wet and dry. So look, all I'm going to do, I'm going to run that over the top, and it's pretty much cleaned up my ink pad a bit. Not completely, but enough. It's just taken that top bit of ink off where I'd inked. So if you get your ink pad contaminated, just try it. I'm not going to say it's going to work all the time, but just try it with your spongy. I do that all the time and it really does work for me. But like I say, it's better when I mean, this is just barely damp, this. If I clean, I can clean, but you can see there's hardly any wet in there at all compared to this one, which is wet. Okay, so because you don't want to really wet your ink pad, you can get a bit of water on your ink pad if you want, and if your ink pad starts to dry out, I do often actually just refresh it with a bit of a spritz and do that. How nice that door looks. How cool is that? Okay, now I do want, I've got some, that's what I didn't do, look, I didn't trim my corners off the thing, off the planks. That makes a difference because it actually makes them look like individual planks. They don't quite look right without. So make sure you do that bit. It doesn't matter so much on the bottom. Look at that. How nice is that? Okay, let's get that glued on. Just make sure you're roughly in the middle. I mean, you don't have to be. We could have done a window. I just think it's nice to do something from scratch. That you maybe wouldn't think of. And in there, you can put your sentiment in there, couldn't you? I mean, you could make it a little aperture if you wanted to, and you could have put your sentiment on the inside. You could actually die cut through that, maybe. That'd be quite nice. That's all. Just going to dry that off. Oh, you know what I forgot? Oh, look, I didn't do my side bits. Okay, never fear. Okay, let's do the side bits because I think they look really nice. It's about the details, and you know, I'm a bit of a detail girl, I must admit, in everything that I do, really. Consider driving mad. I'm a bit of a. My dad's a right perfectionist, and I think I get it off my dad. You know, he's a very detailed person. Not in a bad way or anything, but just everything he does has to be perfect and stuff. And so I think, and my mum's very, you know, me and her are both Aquarians, and I think Aquarians are quite, I'm missing a bit, aren't I? You want one there, don't you? I don't know. How does the door look? I mean, you could just do it like that, couldn't you? Oh, I know, like that. I'm doing it wrong. That's it. It wants to go like that. Let's trim that bit off. Right, I'm going to have to do these. They need just, it's because I've wet my paper, my cardstock, I think. Let's just get them bent back. I mean, you could maybe just, it would be quite nice on the inside. Obviously, you can't do it on this edge, but you could maybe just strengthen that a bit. You could see I've got, my cardstock got a little bit wet when I was inking, so don't over wet your card. Okay, where are we? Let's see. Well, right, here's a little tip for you. Let's try this. Hold that down. Okay, maybe a bit not so hard, Nikky, next time. It's better. Stops you getting inky fingers. Who knew? So I'm just holding my ink pad, look, and just drag. I think I've gone a bit too dark, but never mind. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to just take some of the, oh no, too much. I'm going to have to do it all now. Right, look, let's do it this way. Oops. Let's get, and then I'm not messing. Well, that was the intention. I thought it might not mess the ink pad up so much, but I think it's too dry today. If you just dab over, that's better. Oh, that's nice. Gives you that real shabby chicy look. See, look, that's too dry. So I always have a wet and a dry spongy on my desk. that one. So my side ones are a bit longer, I think. Let's do that one at the top and that one at the bottom. That's better. Like that. Is that how it goes? No, like that, isn't it? Like that. Yay. Okay. Good night, everyone. I want the white bit at the top for some reason. Don't know why, just do. Okay. That one's going to sit there. And that one's going to go there. So let's put that. Let's put him on first. Oh no, I've done it the wrong way around again. I'm obsessed. Idiot. No, it's the wrong way. That was the right way. God, honestly, if I had a brain, I'd be dangerous. Okay, that it? Z shape. I don't think it is a Z shape though. Is it? It didn't look right as a Z. I was thinking it was a Z. Anyway, that'll do. That's all right like that, isn't it? You get the picture. You can make yours a Z if it's the right way to do it. Right, let me just go. I need to just get some ink off my fingers. How cute though. Isn't this really cute? Oh my goodness. Love, love, love it. Now, what I would say, I kind of feel like I've lost a little bit of my definition around the edges. Yeah, that's better. Just because we were messing, I was messing around. Say me, I was messing around. So let's just get a little bit of that wood coming through. And maybe just a little bit. Just, like I say, just literally I'm kissing the card. That's it. Just gives you that extra little bit of just where it picks up just a little tiny bit, and it can make a big difference. Okay, and then what we're going to do just with this is just again tiny bit. Now I am going to rub that out. I don't want it to look so that's, gosh, it's warm in here. Everything's drying up really quick. And then let's just get our pink in. It must be a lot wetter. I don't know if I want that. And I just want, I'm really liking when this is just picking up those edges there. Oh, guys, that looks so nice. Well, this has kind of turned into a bit of a tutorial about how to make something shabby chic, hasn't it? So, oh, sorry, really love it. Tony, love this ink pad. If you want this, if you're liking this and you haven't got it, this is from Tony Darrick at Stamps by Me. Other ink pad, other white ink pads are available. I know Lisa Horton's got one as well. I just happen to only have this one. Okay, so if you know, like there, where I've got a bit too much, just rub it back a bit. But I'm liking it here where it catches the edges. I need a bit more around there. It just catches those raised bits. Wish I'd done in there a bit, but I can't get it in. Can't get in there. So, and I don't want to ruin it. Where do you get your spongy? That's on Polkadoodles. The spongy. This is spongy. So this is our spongy sponge. And we also have our spongy cloth as well. This cloth is not like anything you've ever had before. Okay. This literally, both of these, unless it's an ink or something that stains, literally nothing sticks to it. But it's rock hard, but when it's wet, it's so absorbent. Both of these absorb 7 times their own weight in water. So what it means is, look, let me just show you quickly. Sorry, it's just someone's asked in the question. So look, I've got loads here. So I filled this bowl. This is what I do every time I start to craft. I put water in here. Look. Okay. Wring it out. This is absolutely drenched in water. Look at how much water is going to come out of this. I don't know if you can see. You can tell by, look, that's the amount of water. In fact, let me show you better. There, look, that's how much water I've just wrung out. Look, watch. One cloth. Now, the other day on the live, when was it? Was it Thursday I did a live? The impromptu one. Look, I've barely got any water left in there now. Look, I actually spilt my whole cup of water on my desk. And after I left it there, and after I finished the live, this is how I cleaned it up. Now, the sponges are exactly the same. So, with your spongy, it will also soak up all of that water. There is a lot in here. And basically, you can clean your desk with this. You want to be using it. You want to wring it out, really. And you kind of want to be using it so that it's wet but damp. So, basically, then, let me show you. Show you with this. Watch this. So if you're a bit of a messy crafter like me, Lou Withers, I mean, yes, you can clean up with a cloth, but can you clean up with a cloth like that? And this is almost dry. I can actually put my projects on here now, and I can continue to actually craft, and I'm not worried about the surface being wet. Now, I do have to show you why the number one reason for me why you need this, okay? And this was, I didn't realise this when I found these, because obviously, you know, I'm not a sponge manufacturer, but when I actually found these and got them in my hands, I could not believe how amazing they were. So, you've been inking your stencils. That's candied apple, okay? If you ever need a reason to get this in your life, this is the reason, okay? Now, I'm not going to, you can use the ridge. So you've got ridges on here, which is great for doing like any kind of dusting. I've got these all over the house. We've got them, everybody in my family has got them in their house. We use them in the bathroom. Now, stencils. How hard is it to clean your stencils with a cloth, because it catches all the edges of everything? I did not catch any edges on this stencil. Look at that. You know, usually you're going backwards and forwards. I mean, yeah, give it a wipe on the back as well. But that's candied apple, bright red. There is still a little bit. It's because my ink pad's got a bit of material off my ink pad, and then have a bit of water, and it is going to stain, don't get me wrong, and I know some people get put off by that, but I'm sorry, I didn't kind of come up with a stain proof spongy. It's not about my sponge looking nice, it's actually about my sponge cleaning up my work area as I'm crafting and helping me be a cleaner crafter, which it has done. You see, look, it's stained it, but you know, so what, it doesn't matter. Now that stencil is virtually dry. I can put that away. If you go and wash that under a tap, you've got to then leave it on the side to dry, because you can't dry them, and then you get all fluff on everything. This is the other thing as well that I always forget to mention. This is, and I really mean this when I say it, this is 100% lint free, okay? And I mean that literally. You do not get any fluff on this whatsoever. It's like a unique material. It's not just this. These are both the same material, but they're made. This one's just made into a solid block, basically. But this is weird. It's like nothing you've ever felt before. It's like it quivers. Look, it kind of, it quivers. But when it dries, this is what it's like. Now, when you get it, it'll be in a bag, and it'll be damp. And we ship them damp because it's easier to ship. But when it dries, this is how the cloth is when it dries, and it's literally like, it feels all crusty and everything, but it's not. Now, I've had these in this bag for ages. They don't smell. They rarely smell. If they do start to smell, just literally rinse it out a little bit. They are going to stain with your inks. You can't help that. It says on the packaging, I actually put on the packaging because I asked my factory, you know, obviously all of the ins and outs of it. Can we use bleach? Can we use X, Y, Z? They said, no, don't use bleach. Don't use detergent, blah, blah, blah. I do. I put these in the washing machine, okay? I've used bleach on them. Like I say, I have them on the kitchen sink. I have them in the bathroom. I use chemicals on them all the time. Now, I'm not saying that they're not going to, that chemicals aren't going to damage it. It will. You know, the chemicals damage all cloths. I mean, look at mine. Look at the state. This is paint. But I let it all dry on, and I didn't realise. So, you know, but it doesn't bother me. Look, it's got our name on it and everything. It's unique to Polkadoodles. You're going to absolutely, it will just live on your desk, and you'll come back for more. Everybody comes back for more. I don't know anyone who's only got one. And use this on your skirting boards. I know that sounds really weird, but because of these grooves, look, if you've got your skirting boards like that, the grooves hug the, how do you do that? You might be able to, can you see like where if your skirting board's like that, look, it goes in to the grooves, and it's just so good for skirting boards. Tiles, showers, I've got one on the bath, and every time we have a shower, we just go over the shower screen with it. But yeah, awesome. So I hope that's answered your question. Right. I think we've gone on. It's 1:15. I haven't got anything die cut ready to make. Do you want me to make something with this, or shall we do a part 2 next time? I'm just conscious we've already been on for an hour, over an hour. But we could come back to this project next time and actually finish it if you want. Let me know in the comments. Or do you want me to continue? I just don't want to take up all of your Sunday. It's so cute. So cute, isn't it? Every time I look at it, I love this. It's worked out so well. What I was going to do was just kind of, I mean, I've made it quite big, really. It's a bit bigger than I intended. So my intention was let me see. So my intention was that I was going to kind of use, in fact, I think we'll do part 2. Okay. So I'll do part 2, because I really need to look at, because this has turned out to be bigger than I anticipated. So that some of the bits that I'd got ready to use won't fit. They are a bit like a leather chamois. Yeah, the spongy is a bit like a chamois, but it's not, because it's not made out of leather. But it's a similar, that shaky, wobbly thing is quite similar. I need to go through the stamps, so we'll use the Summer Garden like I planned, but I need to actually go through and check what I'm going to use, because I kind of was going to use dies, and I don't have... Yeah, I don't have everything cut that I wanted to cut, and I don't want to... I'll be here for 2 hours die cutting. And so, and kind of, I want to use like my little ladder. I've got, yeah. So let me plan out the rest of the project, and then we'll come back to it, because I think it'll be really lovely at the end. We'll make something really gorgeous. And then what I'll be able to do is do a proper product list. I'll edit the video, make it into a proper edited video where we get rid of all me waffling and everything. And then you'll be able to actually pick that up as a proper project, and we'll be able to do that. So just if you wanted to see what I'm actually going to use, in case you want to go and get these, because these are all fabulous. So I'm going to use, I'm not sure exactly, but I am going to use, in the garden dies, I'm going to use the plants and pots dies in some way maybe. Garden therapy stamps and dies. This is a nice one, because this has got the wheelbarrows and the little pots and things. There's a lot I want to do with this. We've got the birds and butterflies here. I'll show you it that way around. Birds and butterflies has been a real favourite. And this has got a bike. It'd be nice to actually have the bike standing against the shed door, wouldn't it? And then we've got all the dirt, stamps and dies. Again, these are a little bit bigger, but you've got all the little tools and things. And yeah, so I'm going to use those in some capacity. Obviously not everything. I'm not going to use absolutely everything. But let me plan that out as a proper project, okay? And then we're not going to be here for 3 hours. I think my video might stop soon. I think I can only do an hour and a half. And we're up to an hour 22. Right, okay. So, thank you all for sticking with me for so long. Right, I need to choose a winner. Let me see. Oh, got lots of comments on here. Lots of you joining us. Thank you. People on YouTube, lots on Instagram, lots of Facebookers. Right, okay, let me see. I'm going to random. Well, it's random, but it's not, because I like to make sure someone different wins each time. So I am going to... Have you all entered win? Make sure you enter win. Type win in the comments if you haven't already, because someone's going to win. And actually, what you're going to win, I'm going to send you a set of In the Garden dies, okay? So somebody's going to win those. Okay, here we go. Jenny, Bev, Leanne, Carol. Gosh, so many. Thank you all for joining me, everyone. I'm going to give you all 1 minute. Okay, so when should we do the next live? Well, it should be next... Actually, it's going to have to be next Sunday. So next Sunday at noon again, we'll do part 2. I can't do another live during this week. I have things that I've got to do every day, so I can't fit that in. But yeah, Sunday at noon next week we'll do part 2. Right, okay. So there we go. Oh, and also before I forget, on the front page of the website, if you've loved today and you want to join me every Sunday, or it's not quite every Sunday, sometimes I have to sort of like, oh, sorry, I can't do it this week. But if you want an email reminder about the lives, If you're on the subscriber list, then that's fine, you'll get that anyway. But if you're not, please go to the website, and in the more section on the top right corner of the categories across the top, there's a little section and it says live stream reminders. And if you go into that, you will get a reminder about the lives. And I won't spam you about anything else or anything. It's just literally for the lives. So just go and sign up to that. And then every week before the lives, I actually send you a little email just to remind you that I'm there. Or you could just put it in your reminders on your phone or something. Oh, lots of you. Okay. Right, okay. Win, 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 Bonnie. Okay, I am going to close my eyes and I'm going to select somebody. Okay, where we go? Wherever hit. Karen Bradley. Well done, Karen. So you're going to get an In the Gardens die set. I'll try and get that out tomorrow for you. If you can claim it, can you email me, website at polkadoodles.co.uk. Drop me an email and I'll try and get that in the post tomorrow if I've got your address. And then you'll have it in time for next week's live. You can make this in the meantime and then you can craft along with me. Right, okay. Any more questions from anyone? Hope you've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed it. That totally did not come out how I envisioned it at all, but that's the joy of crafting, isn't it? You have an idea as you go along, and you know, if you've lost your mojo, the best thing you can do is just sit with some paper and make stuff, you know, because you just literally, as soon as you start that creative process, your mojo will come back, and the more you craft, the more creative you become because you train your brain. I know for me, if I haven't crafted for a little while, it's harder. When I haven't drawn for ages, if I've been caught up with doing loads of other stuff and I haven't done any drawing and designing for a while, even like a week, it's tough getting started. And I just kind of sit there and I'm like, and then you procrastinate and you don't do it. So you have to keep crafting, you know, just bits and pieces, paper, scraps. Use scraps. Scraps are a great thing to use. Right, I'm going. Thanks so much for spending an hour and a half of your precious time with me. I really, really appreciate it. I'll see you back next Sunday at noon, and we'll finish our little garden shed off. Okay, see you later. Don't get too hot. It's so warm in here. I actually feel a bit. I'm going to go outside and just have a wander in the... luckily, we live somewhere where it's really windy. Right, okay, bye guys. Thanks so much. You're totally right, Louise Withers. Art will only find you when you are arting. Absolutely 100% right. Bye, everyone. Thanks. Congratulations, Karen. Bye.